Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to episode 43 of All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast. Dizzy, what a treat. We're coming to you live from the deck at Streaky Bay.
We are, Rhodey. You might hear the wind whistling and the birds chirping, and it's fantastic to be here live with you on the deck of what's some pretty spectacular accommodation here in Streaky Bay.
It is beautiful, Diz, and if you were recording yesterday, you wouldn't have heard us. You would have heard the waves crashing and the wind howling because it was a bloody horrible day.
It was horrific. You would have heard the microphone smashing over and, you know, maybe some,
maybe the boat tearing at the mooring.
You would have heard all sorts.
So anyway, much nicer today, isn't it, Diz? And it's a great spot. We love Streaky Bay.
Yes, it is, Rhodey. And of course, this episode, number 43, we're lucky to be joined by Andrew Wright, General Manager and part owner of Calypso Star Charters, the shark cage diving company that operates out of Port Lincoln, and more on that a little bit later. But we're going to get stuck into the oranges and lemons, and I am going to roll straight into my orange, which was, of course, the shark cage diving. We had a fantastic day out, saw 3 sharks. We were lucky enough to be in the group that probably saw the most amount of action.
Yeah, Group 5 was the clear winner that day, I reckon.
Group 5 was the winner.
We managed to bring them on the tube.
Yes, we did. Jack got the chum going nicely, got the sharks around the boat. It was fantastic.
And interesting, Dave, the skipper, Diz, was a former charter boat operator, and he took us out of Port Lincoln fishing about 15 years ago.
Yes, yeah, why not charters? Previously operated out of Lincoln, also did some out of Coffin Bay later on in his chartering journey. But no, it was great to catch up with him. It's
good to rekindle the friendship, I thought.
Yes, no, he's a fantastic guy.
And make sure you jump on the YouTube account.
Yes.
And watch a bit of footage we collected out there.
Yes, no, it was a great little snippet to what the day's like out there.
All right, Diz, my orange is going to be this house. Yes. We're currently on a deck over the water. I can see the jetty. There is a mooring out the front. It is picturesque.
Yes, it is.
Great
Rhodey.
Spot to eat oysters and drink beers.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Just a hop, skip and a jump from the main drag at Streaky Bay.
Yes.
But you wouldn't feel it, mate. You feel miles away.
It's an A-grade location. That's my orange. Diz, what about your lemon?
Well, my lemon, Rhodey, has been that somehow, although we have eaten, drinking, been merry with one another and done all the same things, somehow I managed to pick up some kind of Streaky Bay superbug with some food poisoning over the preceding 48 hours. And, I'll spare the listeners the detail, but let's just say the toilet got a pretty good workout.
It absolutely has not been pretty. I've never seen food poisoning go this long or be this severe. I've had some sort of infectious diseases experts on the phone to know whether we should be podcasting now, and they've given me the all clear. I'm wearing gloves and protective equipment.
Yes. It's
appropriate PPE.
It's been an interesting holiday with the three of you. Of course, our partners, Millie and Lucy, are here in full protective PPE. It's been quite interesting.
It's been absolutely gross the last 24 hours, Diz. But you're telling me you're through the worst of it.
I'm through the worst of it. I haven't missed out on very many activities. I've been quite a trooper in that regard, I'd say, and you'd have to agree.
And we're going out to Scale Bay tomorrow, so if you start shitting, I'm just dropping you off the side.
Fair enough.
All right, Diz, my lemon was a nasty little speeding fine on the way over here, so we won't talk any more about that. But
you shouldn't be... You certainly shouldn't be proud of that one, mate. You're setting a very poor example to our listeners, and I'll give you this opportunity to formally apologise for your actions to all listeners.
Look, I apologise, but I'm a bit flat about it. So let's keep moving. Diz?
Okay. Well, a little bit of a merch update for the listeners, Rhodey. I'm sure anybody who's been following us on the socials has seen a lovely grey cap that you've been wearing at a local cafe down here called Drift.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've shared that one on the socials yet, Diz, but we
it's
will
coming
shortly. We have got a sample that
Yes.
I've been wearing around the place. So the grey cap is coming.
Yes.
One Rundle Trading Co. Very high quality. So please get in contact with us now if you would like to place an order.
Yes.
But we'll let you know when they land.
Yeah, fantastic, Rhodey. That's great. All right, let's get stuck into the news because there's a bit to get through before we get Andrew Wright on the line, and then we'll give the listeners a bit of a wrap-up of our Streaky Bay trip so far. So, Rhodey, I think one of the greatest news stories that's broken over the last little while has been the announcement in regards to the pros being allowed to fish for snapper during the southeast close season, but the recreational fishers weren't.
Yeah.
Now,
Diz, this has been I'm calling this a mess.
yes, okay, interesting.
I don't know what you'd call it.
An absolute diabolical shit show.
Oh, well, that's strong words.
There's been a lot doing the rounds on socials.
Yeah, there's been a lot of outrage.
And
a lot of outrage.
initially, the announcement was only commercials. That then was softened to allow recreational anglers the same privileges, Rhodey.
Yeah, and Diz, it's been inconsistent messaging,
It
I
has.
would have thought. And you're right that they're calling it, this is a Recfish SA statement, calling it unfair.
Yes.
Quotes attributable to Mick Wilson, friend of the show. We're outraged that such an unfair decision has been made, and we're calling on Minister Basham to immediately fix it.
Yes.
But look, it's messy, Diz, isn't it?
It is, Rhodey. I think you're right with regards to mixed messaging. Obviously, that didn't quite get through. Recfish made another announcement post that Minister Basham has allowed the recreational anglers to the same bag and boat limits.
Yep.
But, yeah, mixed messaging, causing some confusion amongst, and just maybe a bit of a storm in a teacup, but certainly one that's been making the news.
Do you think this sort of statement from Mick Wilson's led to this change of decision?
Well, possibly. Yeah.
It's hard to know, isn't it?
It is hard to know, and that'll all be behind closed doors, but nonetheless, something that's been doing the rounds.
And so David Basham was quoted as saying that it'll support the local businesses. He said, the southeast, which will provide a recreational and economical boost to the region, supporting local jobs. So there's no change, Dizzy, to the fishing in the Gulfs. Mm-hmm. They remain banned until January 31, 2023 to allow stocks to recover.
Yes.
And there is a tight restriction, Diz. So I think it's one snapper per person.
Yes.
Up to a boat limit of 3.
Yes.
And am I right? Do you still have to report them on that app?
Yes, you do.
So you still have to report them on the app. But look, it'd certainly tempt me into going down to the southeast.
Yeah.
So it's probably a negative the way it's been handled. But at the end of the day, if we can get down there and catch some snapper, we're probably not going to have a complaint.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Ro.
So anyway, glass half full, glass half empty. We're going to go get some snapper soon, boys.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Rhodey. Well, we've got something else for the listeners coming out of the news this week, and this has been some discussions for the Coorong seals to be culled by the local fishermen and community.
Yeah, so they're saying that this has been going on since about 2007.
Yes.
And member for Barker, Tony Passon, said he represented around 70 full-time employees in the region's fishing industry, and he's taken this to federal parliament recently, saying that he wanted the protected species culled in the area. They've said we have to stop thinking of them as being native in the Coorong, and they're invasive in the Coorong.
Yes. Fair enough, Rhodey. And I think there's been a stance taken on this that'll be basically no, we're not going to allow a cull of the seals due to the feared community backlash and those who wouldn't want to see some seals being culled, but they are doing a lot of damage to fishing equipment. They are eating a lot of the fish. Naturally, that's led to a solid reproductive cycle with those seals in the area, and they've basically taken a hold in the area.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Diz, because they're not native to the Coorong. They haven't always been there.
No.
And they've moved in around about 2007. these
Yes.
fur seals. And they're the apex predator. There's no great whites in there to eat them.
Yes, that's right.
So they're in an area where they can just sit off and get an easy feed. They've got no real competition. And they eat the fish, they damage the nets, and they cause a lot of trouble down there, Diz.
Yes, they do. I think there had been some strategies employed to fish in the dark at night. But, one local fisher person has been saying that, as soon as you turn on the light, it's like a beacon and all the seals come attracting straight over, and then they do the damage, and in the middle of the night it's hard to be doing these things, and I don't think that's very fair myself.
No, it's not. And look, where we sit at the moment is they've been spotted as far as 130 kilometres up the river at Mannum. There's a lot of them in the lower lakes. The government at the moment is opposed to a cull, claiming it would be against wider community values and it would damage the state's reputation as a food producer and tourism destination. Interestingly, they've also said that the idea that had been floated about relocating the animals, they've used an example from interstate where some seals were relocated 400 kilometres away and it took them just 10 days to return. So that seems like that's a no-go as well.
Yes.
So I'm not sure we got an answer, but good that it's getting taken to the next level of government and it's become a federal issue.
Yeah, I don't think this is going away, Rhodey.
It's not, Diz, but so we'll certainly keep you posted on that one, guys.
Absolutely. All right, Rhodey. Well, what else have we got breaking news this week?
One more quick story for you here, Diz, and this is something that we're all too familiar with. There is more fisheries blitz going on. They have handed out more than 11 grand of fines. The fisheries for anglers catching blue swimmer crabs undersized on northern metropolitan jetties.
Why am I not surprised by this?
So this happens all the time, Diz. So 12 people have totaled $11,656,000 in fines. A further 10 have been cautioned. So it was October 2nd, the patrol. They seized more than 400 blue swimmer crabs that were undersized, along with 4 undersized whiting.
Oh my goodness me.
So we know that happens, but that's just proof.
Yeah, it's disgraceful.
So it's pretty...
How hard is it to get down to how's your tackle and grab a 3-way measure?
It's not, Diz.
How hard is it?
It's not.
It's
Easy.
simple. You can measure cockles, you can measure sandies,
Yep.
and you can measure your blue swimmers. Dan's been pumping those bad boys out for a couple of years now.
So there's really no excuse, and look, I reckon we whack them with a bit of jail time if they get real about it.
Boom.
If you're taking 400 undersized crabs, it's pretty clear.
Yeah. No, yeah, look, fair enough.
Just
I
give them a
suppose
couple of weeks as a bit of a stern reminder of
That's
the
a
rights and
very,
wrongs of the world.
Very stern reminder.
Anyway,
It's a
Diz,
forceful reminder.
that's been the news.
Yeah, fantastic, Brody. Some not a large amount of stories, but some very beefy, good
Good content. And a bit to
We went
follow.
for quality over quantity
The
there.
snapper and the seals, I think we'll be hearing more about that.
Yes, we will be hearing more about that. But Brody, that wraps up the news. Let's get, as I mentioned earlier, Andrew Wright, General Manager, on the line. All right, Brody, very lucky to be joined here by Andrew Wright, the General Manager of Calypso Star Charters. Thanks for coming on the show, Andrew. How are you?
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks a lot for coming on, Andrew. We had a great day out, which we've already let the listeners know about last Saturday. It was a ripping day out. Before we get too much into the shark side of things, we are going to ask you our standard fishing questions, and that starts with telling us about your best fish.
Right. Well, I think probably my best fish would have to be a double header of Samson fish. Bottom one, this is going back a while now. Bottom hook was probably about the 18-odd kilo mark, and top hook would have been one of the smallest Samson fish that I've seen pulled aboard, and might have got to double figures, but it might not have as well. So yeah, fishing offshore offshore about 20 miles further out than Rocky Island, so out from Coffin Bay National Park, probably 35 odd miles offshore out there, I guess. So God's country up that way. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's pretty impressive getting two.
For someone that told us you weren't really a fisherman.
Yeah, look, no, I mean I'm not really much of a fisherman, and I don't get a chance to wet a line as much as I'd probably like to. But I think as the kids get a bit older, I'll end up getting back into it a bit more. So
yeah, fantastic. And when you do get out there, Andrew, what's your favourite thing about fishing?
Look, I think the favourite thing about fishing for me is actually not catching anything, because then you don't have any fish to clean. So I've actually quite fortunate that I've got a team of guys that work for me that love fishing. So whenever I need some fish, I just let them know I'll help them make some room in their freezer. So.
Perfect.
We've never had that answer before, Diz.
Yeah, no, that's good. We like that.
There you go. First time for everything.
And Andrew, what's your first fishing memory, or what got you into it?
Look, I think my first fishing memory, I grew up in Kununurra, right in the north of Western Australia, and I reckon the first fish I remember catching was a catfish in the Ord River. Used to go out with a neighbour of ours and chuck a bit of, I don't know, probably steak, or could have been anything on a set line up in the riverbank sort of thing, and coming back the next morning to bring a catfish on board that was, goodness, I mean, back then it was a huge fish for me. It might have only been 5 or 6 kilos, I suppose, when I think about it. But as a young bloke, that was a massive fish, and it's something that certainly is stuck in my mind, definitely.
Yeah, excellent. That would have been a great memory, I'm sure. And Andrew, what's your favourite sort of fishing?
Oh, look, I just enjoy fishing out in the ocean. I mean, I think for me, I get a lot of enjoyment out of putting other people on the fish sort of thing. Years gone by, we used to do some long-range fishing charters out of Coffin Bay, sort of go out for 3 or 4 days and we blazed a bit of a trail up the west coast there. These days, with Neptunes, we do the shark diving as a marine park, of course, so that's sort of shut off to us from a fishing point of view these days, but we still get the odd opportunity to catch a tuna on the way home during the season. Sort of low rocks falls just outside the park, so I think there's nothing better than dragging a fish on fresh and having a bit on the way home for sure.
Yes, nothing like a bit of fresh tuna, fresh sashimi. We love that. I'm going to extend this question, Andrew. It's normally tell us about your funniest fishing story, but I am happy for you to include something shark-related.
Right, no, I've got a pretty funny fishing story, actually. Back, probably going back 6 or 7 years ago now, I reckon. My lad was, my young bloke, Bradley, he's just about to go 10, and I got the dinghy in the water one afternoon and popped him in a life jacket, and we decided to go for a little bit of a cruise around the channel in the marina in Port Lincoln. And anyway, he kept hassling me about taking a fishing rod with him, and I said, no, we won't catch anything in here. And so anyway, we're up the back canals of the marina, and just came across a school of kingfish in there. And anyway, you can imagine how excited the young bloke was, and it didn't take me much convincing to head back to the boat and grab a fishing rod and a bit of bait to have a go. So we went back quickly and got the rod and bait. Went back to where we'd seen this school of little rat kingfish, and while I was sort of busy chopping up a bit of bait, the young bloke decided to take the hook off the fishing rod eye and just drop the bare hook in the water. And anyway, little kingy grabbed it, and next thing you know, this young bloke's just roaring with excitement, and as the fishing rod just disappears over the side of the dinghy. So I luckily grabbed it as it disappeared over the side of the gunnel, and got the young bloke to pull it in. So I think, well, that was definitely his first fish, and he's certainly hooked on it now, probably hooked on it more so than me. And I think that's a story he'll be telling his kids in years to come as well.
Yeah, no, it's a very impressive catch there by the young fella.
Absolutely.
We're very envious of that. We can't catch a kingfish with bait, so I don't know what we're doing wrong.
Well, there you go. Try taking the bait off. Just throwing a bait hook in there. But but it was only a little rat. Like, it was probably, 50 odd centimetres. But I guess it's a little bit more exciting than catching a Tommy off the end of the jetty, for sure.
I reckon.
Absolutely. All right, Andrew. Well, as Rhodey mentioned, we were lucky enough to get out on the boat last Saturday, and we had a fantastic day. So we're probably not the best people to talk about your business. You are. So tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, look, I mean, it was great that you came out, and even better that we got a few sharks for you. We operate the Shark Cage Diving Tours out of Port Lincoln. Just a quick half an hour flight from Adelaide, or a leisurely 650k drive if you prefer to make a bit longer than a weekend or that sort of thing. So we head down the Neptune Islands, North or South Neptune, home to about 35,000 long-nosed fur seals, so that's the main reason that the sharks head there. Mm-hmm. And of course the sharks is the main reason we head there. Nothing's guaranteed in nature, but we do operate with a success rate of just over 80%. So I liken that to betting on the horses, and you're a lot better odds shark diving than you are betting on the Melbourne Cup next week. But it's a good day out on the boat. Boats, we operate a couple of boats down there. Both are stabilised, so if people are worried about getting seasick, both of our boats are fitted with gyroscopic stabilisers. Put the Seakeepers in there, one about 5-6 years ago, and the second one only a couple of months ago. So that's made life on board a whole lot more comfortable, and probably something that your listeners will hear more about in years to come as the popularity of gyros increases, sort of thing. We head out there, get a bait in the water, and hope for the best. Once a shark or two or three, I think in your case, turns up, then we get the guests in. You don't have to be underwater to see the sharks, and you don't need a diving qualification to do it either. So the cage floats on the surface. Your head's only about a foot below the water, as you well know. And when you're not in the cage, there's a pretty good view of the sharks to be had from the boat as well. So and then everything's on board. Breakfast in the morning, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and we can even open the bar for a little celebratory or commiseratory beverage on the way home, depending on how the day pans out for you.
Yeah, we certainly got into a couple of celebratory pale ale can steers, didn't we? And that was a real treat to celebrate seeing 2 or 3 sharks down there. I can certainly attest that stabiliser does a great job.
Yeah. Look, we were actually the first boat in South Australia to have one of those Seakeepers fitted, and based on how good that one was, we did the investment only this year to put it in our other boat. But then only about a month after that, we bought out another company in Port Lincoln here. So now we've got ourselves 2 more boats. So I guess we'll have to talk nicely to the boss and see if we can't save up for a couple more gyros now, I suppose.
It certainly passed the stomach test for me.
I mean, in our case, reduced the roll of the boat by about 85%. So doesn't make you invincible, but it makes those sort of normal days for us quite comfortable. Makes a decent day perfect, and really takes the edge off a bad day, sort of thing, and makes it workable. So very impressive piece of kit. And the other thing we do is also swim in the sea lions. So there's 4 different islands in the Gulf that we can head out to swim in the sea lions. That's a half day tour in the water for up to about an hour, sort of thing. And we sort of typically run them in the morning, 8, back at about 12:30. But in the school holidays, we also end up running one in the afternoon as well, sort of thing. So that's another good fun thing to do while you're in Port Lincoln. And if you've only got an hour or two, well, we also do a seafood bay cruise just around Boston Bay. Quick little introduction to the fishing industry in Port Lincoln, and a few little tastes along the way as well.
Fantastic, Andrew. You've just about got all bases covered there. We did have a fantastic day out. The Neptune Islands were really quite spectacular, and I think you definitely make it a really good day out, because for the first half of the day, I suppose the action was relatively quiet on the shark front, but we were still all having a great time, learned a lot from the skipper and the crew on board, and then naturally we were there to see the sharks, so when the action heated up, that was fantastic, but it was a great day out nonetheless.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, glad you enjoyed the day, and as you say, I mean, learning a bit about the area and a bit about the sharks is all part of it as well. So if you come on board with a bit of an interest in learning a few things, we'll certainly fill you in with a bit of info. If you just going to come on board with an interest in sitting in the corner and sleeping, we'll probably leave you to your own devices, sort of thing. So, but yeah, the main thing there is that, as you said, like the shark activity, even when there's a shark around, it's not constant, sort of thing. They come and go as they please, and yeah, so we've got to be pretty responsive to ensure that everyone on board gets as good a go in the cage as everyone else. So for that matter, the times are relevant when we're out there, sort of thing. Sometimes you'll be in a group where the activity's a bit slow, we'll give you a bit of extra time in the cage, and other times you might be in a group where it's really, really red hot, and we'll sort of pull you out to give someone else a turn, just in case the shark goes a bit quiet on us, sort of thing. So yeah, we don't sit there with a stopwatch and time how long you're in there. It's all about making sure that everyone gets a decent look on any given day.
Yeah, no, certainly Dave, the skipper, and Jack as well did a great job at getting people in and out of the water, giving everyone a great go at it. Another thing we like to keep an eye on while we're out there was the big kingy swimming around the cage. That was great to see. Do you see much else out there? Any Samson fish or anything else pretty cool out there?
Yeah, look, I mean, there are plenty of kingfish. As I said, it's been a marine park since 2014, sort of thing, and certainly the amount of fish have bred up since then. Plenty of trevally. There's actually a couple of interesting research projects sort of going on. They've tagged a lot of the kingfish out at Neptune's with like acoustic tags, and put in receivers around the coast to try to work out how those kingfish are using Neptunes, what's their coming and going, sort of thing, and then importantly, it's like, well, if they're going, where are they going to breed, and what sort of knowledge can we gain from that? Because I mean, I guess any reasonable fisherman is also a pretty keen conservationist in their own right, sort of thing. I think we all go fishing to enjoy fishing for next week and next year and the next generation, sort of thing. So it is important that we look after those fishing stocks, and I guess places like Neptune's, gives the fish that little safe haven that they need, and hopefully, our fishing in South Australia is better for it, and will continue to be better in years to come, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right there, Andrew. And one other thing we did want to talk to you about was how COVID has affected your business. I'm sure it's done some damage, but maybe a bit of more local tourism, particularly more of recent times. Has that picked up, or what have you sort of experienced yourself?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's been an interesting, 18, 20 months sort of thing. I mean, obviously the initial impact was pretty devastating. Like a lot of people, cancelling and postponing, and suddenly, going from ticking along pretty nicely to being shut down, sort of thing. Certainly, once that initial lockdown finished, where there was a lot of South Australians coming to visit, because we couldn't really go anywhere else for a holiday. And then as the other borders opened, certainly, saw a lot of Victorian, New South Wales business for a little while there, and until Victoria got locked back down again. The longer it goes on, I suppose the tougher it gets, to be honest, in that, every time there's a border closure, it seems that, that sort of spooks people from going on a holiday for a little while. So It does take a little bit to bounce back from those lockdowns. Hopefully they're a thing of the past now, sort of thing. Hopefully as that, vaccination rate continues to improve, that there's other ways that they can manage it, sort of thing. Pre-COVID, we had about 35-40% of our clientele were from overseas, and about another 40% from interstate. So there's certainly been a big change. Overall, we're still down on what we were, back in 2019, sort of thing. So we've hopefully, as these borders open up, which it looks like's happening in the coming weeks and months, sort of thing. So hopefully it's a bit of a turning point, and it's all up from here, kind of thing. But it's interesting that the demographic of the guests on board has changed as well. Like a couple of years ago, you'd rarely see people over the age of about 60 on the boat, and now there's probably 3 or 4 on any given trip, sort of thing. So it's good to see people that wouldn't ordinarily consider going shark diving, giving it a go, and it's also good to see people visiting regional areas, and we've definitely noticed, instead of people coming to Port Lincoln and only staying a couple of nights and literally flying in, doing the shark dive and then flying out and leaving wishing that they stayed a bit longer. It seems that over the last 18 months, people have actually been staying a bit longer, which is good, because it's given them opportunity to go and have a bit of a look around the EP and uncover some other good spots to go for holiday as well. So it's all but I mean at the moment, things are ticking along. Looking forward to a busy summer, and I guess if I can give your listeners a bit of advice, if people are considering coming over to Port Lincoln, or probably any regional area for that matter, probably time to start thinking about booking a few things in, because I know that there's some days, Christmas and New Year and that accommodation's already booked up, sort of thing. So, if you're considering coming over this way, certainly get onto it before someone else beats you to a bed, sort of thing. So.
Yeah, certainly the guests we've had across the state have sort of echoed that it's great that tourism's sort of bouncing back, and, interstate travel's hopefully on the comeback, and it's good to see everyone getting out and supporting the region. So that's really great to hear, Andrew.
Yeah, fantastic. Yep.
Just before we leave you, we wanted to know, how do you get to the position you are today? What's your background? How'd you get involved in shark cage diving, and tell us about that?
Look, as I said, I grew up in Kununurra, a little town right in the north of Western Australia, on the Eyre River. Mum and Dad had a farm, only a couple hundred yards back from the river. So a lot of my early life was, I enjoyed boating from a very young age. Bought a little runabout when I was, still in primary school, and disappear up the river with a mate of mine, any opportunity we got, sort of thing. High school, bought a 15-footer and did a little bit more comfortably. And then I spent 12 months. I was actually an exchange student in Finland with Rotary in 2001. While I was away, my folks sold their farm and bought a tour boat up on the Eyre River there. And so, when I came back, I didn't really know what to do with my life, as any good 19-year-old will tell you. And so I decided to come down to Port Lincoln, because if I was going to end up driving Mum and Dad's boat, I needed to get the sea time to get my commercial tickets, sort of thing. Yeah. And I wanted to ensure that in getting that sea time, I wanted it to be ocean-going sea time, so that my ticket wouldn't eventually, restrict me to sheltered waters or working on a river, sort of thing. So I came down to Port Lincoln in sort of end of 2002, 2002, and only intended to be here for a few months. And I guess, as they say, a wife and 2 kids later, I'm still here. So I mean, for the first 4 years, I worked as crew on board. Back in those days, I mean, shark diving was all liveaboard trips. Go out for 3 or 4 days at a time and stay on board the boat, sort of thing. And business was a lot quieter back then. It was really a hobby, I suppose, for the owner of the company at the time. But then over time, he gradually got a little bit busier, and he always said that as soon as it felt like a job, he'd sell up and give it away. He sort of did the shark diving because it was a hobby. He loved it, sort of thing. It was his escape from life to get out on the ocean. He was an electrician by trade, and true to his word, he did, sort of thing. So when he had an approach to sell the business, I had the opportunity to buy in. So I bought in with Ron and Janet Forster in 2006, and then that's when we introduced the one-day tours, and that really revolutionised shark diving, I suppose. It took an activity that was I guess people knew that it existed, but no one ever knew too much about it. It wasn't really promoted heavily, sort of thing. And it was also an activity that was, $2,500 sort of thing. So then, but then by creating that one day tour, all right, we, I guess you roll your dice a bit with a one-day trip over a 3 or 4 day trip with regard to the weather and also the shark activity, of course. But over time we've found that sighting success rate's still been pretty good. As I said, it's sort of averaged up around and just over that 80% mark, which is obviously enough to keep people coming, sort of thing. And even back in the days of 3 and 4 day trips, there were some trips that we didn't see any sharks. So that's never changed, and I think that's important that it's never changed, because what it does is it really highlights that everyone's concern about going there more often is somehow attracting the sharks to learn, sort of thing, and the fact that we went nearly 3 months this winter where we didn't see a shark, and it's sort of like, well, clearly the sharks aren't learning, sort of thing. They're not under our spell, sort of thing. They're still free to come and go as they please, and it's important for us that continues to be the case.
Absolutely. That's fantastic, Andrew. Thank you very much for a great insight to what was a spectacular day out on the Calypso Star Charters. Thank you very much for giving up your time, and I really appreciate you telling us all about the business and everything like that.
Yeah, no worries at all, guys. Thanks very much, and look forward to seeing not only yourselves, but hopefully some of your listeners on board again in weeks and months to come, for sure.
You'll certainly see us again one day, Andrew. No doubt about that, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Dear's bloody good to chat with Andrew, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was excellent, Rhodey. Fantastic operation they've got running there down in the Port Lincoln area. Fantastic day, I thought. Really well catered. Really kept all of the guests entertained, and I'd certainly agree with the Seakeeper discussion that it kept the boat from rocking and rolling around a bit, didn't it?
It certainly did, Diz, and big shout out to Dave, Jack, Kaz and Kelly for getting us on the Sharks.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot to Andrew for coming on for a chat.
Yep, no, that was really, really quite a spectacular day. The action was hot.
It was, Diz. It was great. We saw heaps of sharks. So anyway, guys, make sure you see all that on the YouTube video. All right, Diz, let's get on to the report. Let's start locally right here in Streaky Bay. What's been happening?
Well, Rhodey, we turned up to Streaky Bay on what was a glorious day. We
went via the Oyster HQ.
We did go via Oyster HQ.
Had a tour and a feed.
We learned a bit about oysters. We got into shucking them. Had a beer. It was a fantastic location. Went up and had lunch at Oyster HQ afterwards, and then made way to Streaky Bay, about 250 kilometres.
We did, and we arrived and saw an absolute pearler of a day. It was a mill pond and the sun was shining.
Yes, it was
So we chucked the boat in the water and got straight into them.
Yes, we did, Rhodey. It was really nice to turn up to that weather, and we went round to some grounds that we had been hearing some good reports of outside of the bay. Probably one thing we did underestimate a bit was the size of Streaky Bay.
Certainly takes you a while to get out there, doesn't it, Diz?
Yes, I mean, especially from where we are staying, where we're lucky enough to be able to keep the boat out the front. I know they do have another ramp which is a lot closer to the spit.
Yeah.
But for us, it's been a fairly long trek through the bay out to the whiting grounds, and
they're called the bushes.
Yes, called the bushes. We got a couple.
We got a couple that first day, we've had mixed success since, both with the weather and with the fishing. Yes. As we said, it was blowing a gale yesterday. It's quite nice today, but would be a bit rough further out. So we've got we got the bag Wednesday.
Yeah, we got the bag Wednesday. That was really good. Really good to get onto them there. We got onto them in a big way.
And we've got sort of 6 or 8 a couple of times as well.
Yeah, we have. So, no, I think it's been a really good fishing trip. Did well on the King George, I'd say, overall.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty successful. So, yeah, we fished the bushes, which is round the corner, and we've also fished up around Pigface and Eyre Island.
Yes.
We've probably had one of those trips where you catch a couple here, move spots, couple there.
Yes.
We haven't sat on one spot and taken the absolute mickey. We did also make a little journey out to the smooth pools, Diz.
Yes, we did, Roddy. Smooth pools near the granites, of course.
Yes.
Very good location. And Millie, my wife, spotted an abalone right at her footsteps.
Yeah, she's just in the background waving this bloody abalone shell around, trying to take all the credit.
Yes, I know.
But, yes, she did. She almost stood on it, I think.
I'm fearful that abalone had some kind of E. coli super bug within it that has led to my demise.
So anyway, we've had a couple of abs, we've had some whiting, we picked up some local oysters, we have eaten plenty of seafood. It's been great, Diz.
Yes, it has been, Rhodey. It's been very good on the seafood front, which is very, very, very standard for the Eyre Peninsula. If you get over here, if you're lucky enough to get over here, do a trip of it. It's spectacular. It's just all the sights and sounds.
And yep, Diz, we're going out to Scales Bay tomorrow, so we will update the report from there. So there will be some more fish. Hopefully to talk about from there. And actually, sorry, Lucy's given a yell out. She caught a big salmon today.
Yes, it was quite a sizable salmon.
Don't feel unloved there, Lucy. She wants to get in. She wants a shout out. She did catch a stonker salmon. Probably one of the biggest salmon we've had in our boat, Diz.
Yeah, certainly in recent times. I mean, I can't think of a bigger one that we've got in there, but that's not something we tend to keep a track of. But certainly a shout out to Millie's boss, who does enjoy eating salmon. Brody, that's something we've talked about a bit on this show. Yeah,
we're not really big salmon eaters, but Lucy did dub herself the salmon queen this morning. So, look, if you're into salmon, they are here too. Anyway, Diz, this has been the fishing report. There has been some salmon, but what else has been happening across the state, Diz?
Yes, Reddy. So we did, of course, we dropped into the local tackle store, Killers.
And Tackle World Port Lincoln.
So Tackle World Port Lincoln, we picked ourselves up a tumbler, Rhodey.
Yep, locally made and produced in Port Lincoln, I believe.
Yes, it is. So we're going to double this as our bit of a fishing report and tackle item.
Should we roll straight into the tackle segment and then come back to the fishing report?
Yeah, let's just mix them in.
All right, Diz, let's freestyle here. I love it.
So the tumbler bag, of course, Rhodey, something which we have briefly mentioned in previous episodes, but the only way to scale your fish as far as I'm concerned.
And we did have some nasty knockoff cheap thing.
Oh, horrible. We were given that, though, weren't we?
Yeah, it was a freebie.
Yeah, we were given that, and look, we weren't happy with it.
Didn't last. The rings went south pretty quick.
No, the tumbler made by, as you said, a local in Port Lincoln. Really good business. Very fairly priced, I'd say, for what they are.
And the rope's the perfect length.
Yes.
The fittings are high quality, and they do a great job at getting all of the scales off your catch. Yep. We haven't really had... sometimes those shitty old scaling bags, you have to bloody pull them in, check them, shake them around, do it again. These ones, you put it in, you have a hoon, you take them out, they're done.
Yeah, no, much better quality netting, far better quality sort of loops on either end. Certainly got a run on Eyefish, so I'm sure it will be a common name to most. But get down to your local tackle store. I'm sure if it's any good, they'll stock them.
And that's our tackle item of the week. Diz, now back into the fishing report.
Yes, so...
when we were in these tackle stores, what did they tell us, Diz?
Well, yeah, so Killers were saying, and naturally this is the Ceduna and Streaky Bay areas are generally where they'll first sight the tuna, around about this time for our states.
Yep, that's correct, Diz.
They're not hearing any reports yet, but they're expecting them in the weeks to come. Maybe a string of really hot weather might sort of bring them through. We'll know a bit more hopefully tomorrow once we get off scales. We'll be absolutely frothing if we see some, Rhodey.
We'd be the first ones in the state if we did, I think, because we've asked high and low for any reports of tuna, and all we can report is no, they are not here yet.
Yes.
This will be the first part of the state to see them, then they'll move across sort of past Port Lincoln, Marion Bay, and get to Victor Harbour sometime sort of early summer.
Yes, that's right.
So keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears down, and they'll be here soon, Diz. So that part of the report was there's nothing to report.
Yeah, it certainly was. But while we're talking about tuna, Paddy Dangerfield, it'd probably be a bit of a stretch to say he's a fan of the show.
We tried to hit him up. I think you got a bit pissed one night and slid into his DMs, and I think he gave you nothing.
Standard.
So, we're almost rivals. He's got a fishing podcast interstate. I suppose we're compatriots.
Probably, if anything, that goes to show that he's a little bit scared of the competition.
Anyway, Diz, he's looking for the Victorian market, so we won't badmouth him too much.
No, we won't, but he's got a lovely new boat, a 750 hardtop North Bank with twin 200 Mercs on the back.
And he went out with Nigel Lappin, former Brisbane Lions triple premiership player, and they caught a barrel.
Yes.
So that's where
this
whole big story goes.
Yes. Yeah, big tuna. So christened the boat, I'm sure. Had a good day on the barrels.
So they're still getting barrels, Diz. That was a summary, wasn't it? That was
Yes.
across in Victoria.
Yes. Yeah.
But, they're still in that sort of southwestern South Australia / eastern Victoria sort of area.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's...
Haven't seen too many reports coming out of sort of Port Mac way, but I'm sure they're still down there somewhere. And if they are, Bodie will find them.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Bodie will definitely find them, but...
So that season's coming to an end, Diz. And probably so's his tackle report.
Yeah,
this fishing report.
That's probably just about wrapped up the fishing report, I think, Rhodey.
And we're hoping we have more to add in our next episode when we review the Scales Bay component to this trip.
Yes.
Diz, a couple of dates coming up.
Yes, the Onka Stomper Rhodey.
Yep, Diz, that is coming up very quickly. Mark Mills is a great man, does a lot of great work for childhood cancer.
Yes, they do. Of course, it's Sunday, November 7th, in raising an astronomical amount of money for childhood cancer for what is a fantastic event.
And we've tipped a little bit of cash in down at How's Your Tackle at the barbecues. They've been raising a lot of money, Diz.
Yeah, Dan does a fantastic job down there with his Friday night sessions out of the tackle store there, raising some funds. We love that.
So it must have been about 12
really
months
good.
we had Mark Mills ago on the show.
Yes, it was.
So, great day. Get down there. It's not a super serious fishing competition. It is more of a fundraising and a great day out.
Yeah, it's a real family day.
And I might try and check the calendar, Diz. We might get down there.
Yes.
So I haven't been able to plan too far past this trip, but we'll once we get to Adelaide, we'll check the diary.
Absolutely, Rhodey. Fantastic. Well, it's been
Hold on.
great.
We've got a couple more openings, Diz.
Oh, goodness.
Just keep it
What's
together,
this?
mate.
Late.
No, not really. It's sort of been coming for a while. Cockle season's about to open.
Ah, yes, of course.
So the season is closed until October 31, which is just a couple of days away, and it will reopen.
Yep.
So get down to Goolwa and get your cockles, which is great. And something else we're a little bit flat about is the rock lobster season ends on the 1st of November at midday for the Northern Zone. Mm-hmm. So pretty much straight after we leave here, you're allowed to get rock lobsters.
Yeah, we didn't time that very well, did we?
No, not at all, Diz.
And anyway, there'll be another trip.
So that is the end of our diary segment of the show, which is new.
Yeah, it
Good.
is. That's quite unique, that little segment you threw in there.
Yeah, look, I did. Anyway, guys, make sure you catch up on all we've been doing on the socials. There's been plenty of videos floating around. The YouTube video of the shark cage diving, plenty of Instagram gear. Diz,
Been great to be here with you, Rhodey, on the deck.
coming from you live at Streaky Bay. We're signing off, Diz. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Good to speak to you guys.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.